You're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, 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 other than day one.
Donald Trump has successfully moved the Overton window in a way that is as dangerous for the future of democracy in this country as anything else.
This is what Vout and Project 2025 wanted.
Newsom is he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great.
They control the Congress, they control the White House, and they control the courts. And so, of course, they're massively overreaching. And yes, they are getting away with it right now.
This is clearly a man who cannot tolerate criticism of him or what he does, which is exactly what authoritarianism is all about.
The New York Times is just as fake as CNN and MSDNC. They really are the enemy of the people.
What he is saying, rather bluntly, if you stand up to Donald Trump, he will punish you.
Protesters in Philadelphia, state capitals in California, Minnesota, Michigan, Texas, Wisconsin, Indiana, and others showed up to oppose Trump, Musk, and Project 2025.
The US and President Trump has overseen America's largest military parade in decades as nationwide protests take place against his leadership.
Demonstrations are happening right across the United States today to oppose the Trump administration.
Two visions of America. On a day the country's deepening divide was there for all the world to see.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jeff Waldorf, and you are watching Logically Left right here, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all the usual suspects. Today, I got a lot of very important stories. We got the shooting we're talking about that happened at an ICE facility yesterday, and Kash Patel and the FBI and the Trump administration's efforts to try to paint this as left-wing domestic terrorism, and how apparently that is falling flat already. We have an Epstein investigator who had admitted on camera in one of those sting videos from Project Veritas that Trump is covering it up. He's covering up for somebody. Not sure who, not sure why. There's some fallout for that. That's an amazing story here. An update on the Luigi Mangione murder case that is getting ready to go to court in December. Well, you know, if it gets there, if it even gets there, because apparently the DOJ, Donald Trump, and the rest are possibly poisoning the jury. And so, oh boy. I've got the details on that one. Amazing story there. We have, once again, an attempt at lawfare from the Trump Department of Justice that just, messed things up. Okay. This time it was a way to try to go after someone who had sued successfully Alex Jones for defamation, a former FBI agent, now retired. Okay, so Ed Martin tried to go after this guy, and oops, due to their own incompetence, had to walk it back. The clownishness of this administration is just beyond the pale, beyond the pale. And then we've got a MAGA superintendent that is basically stepping down. Ryan Walters of Oklahoma will be done in October. Gone. And so that's the news of the day. Look, today, kind of a rough day for me, a little bit. It's my dad's birthday. And he passed away back in April of leukemia. And so, you know, it's a bit of a rough day for me today. But trust me, we got news, we got politics. We'll have a little fun. We'll make fun of idiots. And talk about important issues. By the way, while we're on announcements here, I will not be here tomorrow because my birthday also on Saturday. And so I'm going to take a little bit of time to try to center myself and get away from the political world for the news cycle for a couple days, and come back strong on Monday. So anyway, if you haven't already, please like and share stream, like and share the show. Very important that you do so. It helps us out greatly. Consider becoming a member by hitting the join button below if you're on YouTube, or going to our Patreon page, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf, signing up there, becoming a subscriber on Facebook and on Twitch as well. So whatever you can do to help out, I'm deeply appreciative of. With that said, I guess let's dive into it, huh? Let's start out with the Sharpie stuff. Sharpie Gate 2.0, I guess. Oh boy. The director of the FBI, Kash Patel, is apparently facing his own Sharpie Gate. That's right. This has happened after a deadly shooting at a Texas immigration facility. Now, on Wednesday, 3 people were shot. I believe one is dead by a sniper at an ICE facility. Okay, in Dallas, Texas. It was a ICE field office. Okay, and now Kash Patel immediately took to social media, just like he did after the murder of Charlie Kirk, to spread a narrative that wasn't true, to just, talk about things that, it turned out to not be factually correct. I know that the head of the FBI should not be engaging in this social media posting when you don't even have all the information. Okay, but he goes to social media in order to try to spread a narrative that this was, yet another example of left-wing domestic terror in the United States. All right, so now, here's what he said. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. More updates will be forthcoming. And there it is. There's the image that he posted alongside of that post. Oh my God! Left-wing terrorism, anti-ICE. Nobody on the left here would write anti-ICE. Okay, much less murder someone. Okay. If anything, the correct phrase would be F-ICE, okay, but not censored. And so that doesn't make sense, okay, the phrase that they use. But not only that, what's more important here is the fact that there were no law enforcement officials that were injured or killed in this attack. So, wait a minute. Who was harmed in this attack? Who was killed? Who was injured? Migrants. Immigrants. Why would a person who seemingly hates immigration and customs enforcement officers target the immigrants? It doesn't make any sense. The immigrants are victims of ICE. Something does not smell right here. Okay? It just doesn't. And people on social media were very quick to call this out. In fact, you had Merrick writing, he only shot detainees but wrote anti-ICE in ballpoint pen on the bullets? Brother, we are not born yesterday. Y'all are bad at this. Yeah, of course. Another says, nobody believes this BS. Release the files. Ah, yes. And of course, by the way, along with that theme, somebody posted this. Release the Epstein files. Aha! Haha, there it is. There it is. Carved red in the bullets. All right, there's more. Another said, don't forget to post the shell casings with Kash Patel is strong and handsome, engraved in crayon. Yeah. Basically, a lot of people on social media are not buying whatever this is. Whatever this is. I mean, it kind of seems like Kash Patel is trying to create a narrative in order to blame Democrats. Because of course he is. That's the whole point, okay? That's the whole point of Kash Patel running the FBI. It is to try to blame and attack Trump's political opponents. But again, the target makes absolutely no sense. In fact, another social media user warned that stuff like this is basically a way that the Trump administration is laying the groundwork to enact new laws to crack down on people who have been defending themselves, for the most part, against ICE agents. Remember, a lot of these ICE officials, they go around without any sort of identifying markers. They wear masks and all that stuff. So, and just come up and start accosting people that they assume are undocumented immigrants without any sort of due process. And so in a lot of the cases where they claim, oh, we have been assaulted by these left-wing immigrants and criminals and all that. Usually it's either people defending themselves because they don't know who is attacking them, or it's something that, again, is more of a misdemeanor, like throwing a sandwich, okay, that they tried to overcharge into a felony. And so that's what's going on here. But anyway, look, they're trying to make this into another, I don't know, Reichstag fire. Okay, a lot of those. And by Wednesday afternoon, by the way, Trump took to True Social to, of course, blame what he calls the radical left. This violence is a result of the radical left Democrats constantly demonizing law enforcement, calling for ICE to be demolished. Actually, it's abolished. Abolish ICE, thank you. And comparing ICE officers to Nazis. No, more like the brown shirts, which weren't actually officials in the Nazi party. They were people that were basically they're not the secret police, that's the SS, but just more vigilantes than anything. That's what they feel like, vigilantes, okay, that are going around and basically enforcing fascist rule, okay, and helping out this that administration to scare people. It's basically trying to scare people. But in this case, ICE, of course, is unfortunately part of the government. And a lot of people who now, I think, have signed up to be in ICE are people that may have been Proud Boys, may have been J6 rioters. And so, of course, they signed up or to get those sweet, sweet benefits now that were taken away from other people and directed into Trump's immigration enforcement. Okay. But anyway, he said that I will be signing an executive order this week to dismantle these domestic terrorism networks. Whatever that means. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Okay. The alleged shooter who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So it's not like he can go and expand upon his motive, has been identified as Joshua Jean, another surprise young white male that was steeped in online meme culture, 4chan, Reporter Ken Klippenstein, for example, spoke to people who actually knew him and discovered that he didn't really have political beliefs one way or the other, although he was a vaguely right-wing libertarian type who liked Ron Paul, okay? So apparently he didn't like really any, either party, wasn't a fan of Donald Trump, wasn't a fan of the Democrats, but didn't really engage in politics beyond any of that. So Klippenstein spoke to 3 people who had known the shooter, the alleged shooter, since middle school on the condition of anonymity. They provided Ken with records that corroborated their friendships with him, photos, records, etc. And they described him as pretty much just an edgelord, okay? From his reporting, John preferred edgy humor, video games, and the message board 4chan, all of which he became increasingly steeped in as he withdrew from social life, as well as their own friendships several years ago, they said. None of his former friends believed that the anti-ICE message on the bullet could have possibly been sincere, feeling that such a serious political statement was anathema to who he was. His humor, they said, was deeply ironic, often offensive and aggressive, to the point of alienation. He was most certainly an edgelord, one friend said. An irony guy. Asked about the inscription on the bullet, the friend said, Josh was an edgelord who wanted someone to get blamed, and I think he tried his best to write something goofy to rile people up. Ah. Another friend had showed Ken a Facebook post describing how Jean had flooded his friend's comment sections with rape jokes. Playful shock humor, the friend said. Oh, right. Okay. But what about his politics? What about his politics? Let me get into that a little bit more. Now, one friend had recalled that when Trump first came into power, Jean was not a fan, although he had contempt for mainstream politicians in general. His friends say that he had more of a libertarian bent, with one recalling that he had an interest in Ron Paul. Another friend said he was into politics only in the 4chan sense. Contrarian, provocative, boundary pushing for laughs, not conviction. So what that tells me is that if he actually carved anti-ice into bullets, that would be an incredibly ironic statement, considering how the victims were not ICE, they were all detainees, all immigrants. That would be the height of irony right there. Okay? And again, note that the victim, I'm sorry, not the victim, but the shooter, okay, was not an immigrant, unlike the victims. Okay? Wasn't an immigrant, wasn't a leftist or a transgender person, okay, but was, again, another white male, loner edgelord who embraced political nihilism. That's really it. What a surprise. Shocker, except not really shocking, okay? Now, it's also not really shocking that our troll president and his lapdog VP and their extremely unqualified podcaster FBI director, Kash Patel, they're all trying to blame this on Trump's political enemies. Is there nothing that they would not try to blame on the radical left? I think there's some good news here, okay? And that is the fact that they're constantly showing their ass, okay? It is pretty much getting to a point where everyone can see that they're just crying wolf. Everything they're trying to blame on the far left. It's gotten to the point where it's absolutely comical, and only the most TDS afflicted MAGA folks, because they're really the ones with the true Trump derangement, okay, will believe the bullshit story that Trump and his cronies are trying to sell you. Okay. And there you go. And look, Valentina Gomez, by the way, and I didn't mention this in the story, but Valentina Gomez, she is that very right-wing troll that tried and failed to get into Congress. She had put out a video, and she put out a lot of very disturbing videos, right? But one of them was saying how this is how we deal with immigrants instead of putting them in prison. And she just basically shoots what is, a stand-in for an immigrant. So, I mean, that's what they're doing here. Okay. It's absolutely ridiculous. With that said, let's move on. Hey, that might have actually, provoked that violence. So, there we go. Move on. There is yet another video that is dropped of an investigator, an Epstein investigator, that is claiming that Trump, for some reason, is covering up the Epstein files.
I think he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there, but he's protecting a lot of people.
Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax, the case is like a hoax or something. I mean,
come on, you know it's not a hoax. He's been on the plane, many times. It's just he was never on the plane with the kids. I've seen the itineraries and I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and a rape occurred. But that can't be said for Clinton, and it can't be said for others. While the Clintons were on the plane, while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred.
Okay, so, interesting. Interesting. Now, he added that, it's not a hoax. He says a lot of stupid stuff. He's been on the planes. Now, how many times? It's just he was never on the plane with the kids. So, this is, once again, another undercover sting video from Project Veritas. Now, Project Veritas, got to give you a little bit of a, warning here. They have been accused of publishing deceptively edited videos in the past. I've talked about them before. And so, yeah, this could be another one of those, right? But this also follows another video of a Washington career official making claims about Trump being in the Epstein files and Trump covering up the Epstein files. Interesting. Now, the person that you saw there is Glenn Prager, a career federal official who made these claims during a flight from Phoenix to Washington, D.C. earlier this month. Prager's LinkedIn profile stated that he had more than 25 years of experience in government oversight, investigation, and program integrity. Okay, his public service includes roles within the U.S. Department of Justice, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Now, during his tenure at the DOJ, Mr. Prager, his profile reads, served as an inspector overseeing sensitive investigations involving major DOJ components, including the FBI, DEA, Bureau of Prisons, U.S. Marshals Service, ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's offices. So you heard the guy, and you heard him say that, by the way, no one had implicated Donald Trump himself, but the same couldn't be said about Bill Clinton. You know what, though? I don't care. I don't care who was on the plane. I don't care what their political affiliation is. If there was any evidence that they were doing crimes, especially involving children, then yes, they need to be prosecuted. Bill Clinton, I don't care. I don't care about Bill Clinton. If he gets, arrested, if he actually did a crime, yes, I want him arrested. I want all of those people who were involved in the crimes arrested. I don't care about their politics, okay? And I want them to be prosecuted, and you know what? I also want the people who are protecting them to be prosecuted as well. If Trump is one of those people that, yeah, maybe he didn't do it, but guess what? He's out there trying to bury the evidence and protect pedophiles, then yes, I absolutely want him to be prosecuted as well. Because that would be really bad. That would be very bad. But then again, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying his entire story of Donald Trump protecting other people, because when has Donald Trump ever put anyone, when has he ever put himself on the line to protect anyone else? Seriously. I mean, come on. Already, of course, there has been reports that Trump's name had appeared throughout the Epstein files that first Bondi claimed existed and that were literally on her desk, and then she's like, what files? There's no Epstein files. There's no client list. We already got everything released out there. Except that you don't. We found out, by the way, that the FBI had assigned people, about 1,000 agents, to go through, look through the files, the tens of thousands of pages of documentation to find Donald Trump's name and erase it. So, I mean, come on. The only possibility that I could think for Donald Trump to be protecting someone else who may be on that list is because whoever that person or people may be probably own him in some way. Now, I don't know for sure. Or maybe they could do, I don't know, serious damage to Donald Trump. More than the damage that he's been doing to himself by trying to cover up these files. Okay? I'm just saying. And I know what a lot of people on the right will come and say, "Oh yeah, well, Joe Biden, why didn't he cover it up? Why didn't he release the files?" Number one, it was sealed by a court. Secondly, Joe Biden didn't campaign on any of this. And for third, I'm going to put on my conspiracy hat. Okay? So just to let you know, it's conspiracy time. Maybe Joe Biden was protecting very powerful people as well. Perhaps the same people that Donald Trump is now protecting. What about that? Interesting. Again, just a theory. Just a theory. Either way, this and videos like it are going to continue to fan the flames of this Epstein scandal. It ain't going away. It ain't going away anytime soon. Okay? That said, now Investigator Prager is doing damage control. You're going to love this. He said, "I was approached in what I believe was a casual, non-professional context." Oh, sure. Already. And I later learned that the individual was misrepresenting themselves. Thinking it was simply personal banter, I responded in kind. Right. Yeah, that totally sounds like banter. Okay? Personal banter. Any remarks from that exchange should not be interpreted as accurate statements or reflective of my actual work, conduct, or opinions. I want to ensure that there is no confusion caused by that misleading interaction. Please stop calling and texting. It's approaching harassment. Printing any story related to my opinion is misleading and or is completely inaccurate. To make it perfectly clear, I was not involved in any way, and any opinions are based on public information. It's my personal banter, guys. That's all that was. Didn't sound like it. The guy claimed to have interviewed all of the victims here. And also had said, well, Donald Trump, nobody implicated Donald Trump. No, this seems like a lot more than that. It seems like he is in damage control. After all, he still does work for the government. And I'm sure Pam Bondi just, came down on him like a ton of bricks when this came out. Okay. So, deep trouble. Deep trouble. Look, videos like this and all the stuff that has come out and the denials and the cover-up, what appears to be a cover-up on these Epstein files, it is getting to the point where so many members of both the left and the right are coming together to question what the hell is really going on. What is the truth here? And why is Donald Trump lying about the files? Where are they? Why are you covering them up? And who are you covering them up for? The country wants to know. The people want to know. All right. Before I get to the next story here, thank you, Christine McGee, for the very, very kind donation on Facebook. Really, really appreciate that. You're my favorite reporter. Well, thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. All right. VMan29397, by the way, over on YouTube says Kash Patel is so incompetent that he had been running the FBI in the 30s, or that had he been running the FBI in the 30s, would have lost the battle against the Puerto Rican national movement. There you go. The orange blob pedo is going down, and it can't come fast enough. There you go. Let's see. Cash should pull the old Karl Rove trick. Lots of blank pages to make it seem like you are really prepared. All right, so how's the Epstein ballroom coming along? Can somebody ask Trump how he feels so we will talk about the Epstein ballroom? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, thank you again, Christine. And by the way, Scotland, wonderful, wonderful place. Would love to go there someday. And I also love how you hate Donald Trump over there, too. It's always fun. Okay. Move on here to the Mangione stuff. All right. A federal judge has fired off a warning to the Trump Department of Justice if they continue to meddle in the case against Luigi Mangione, the young man who was, of course, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in December of 2024. District Judge Margaret Garnett, who is a Biden appointee based in Manhattan, alleged in an order Wednesday that social media posts belonging to two high-ranking DOJ officials, which were parroting a claim made by Donald Trump about the guilt of Mangione, who has not been to trial yet, may have violated court rules. Whoops. As a result, of course, the Justice Department could face sanctions for violating Mangione's right to a fair trial. To which I say, of course,
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie indeed. Huh. Also, stupid. All right. So now, here's the thing, okay? Garnett had to explain to the Department of Justice that, hey, maybe you should not declare someone to be guilty before facing trial, okay? You know that whole innocent until proven guilty thing? Kind of important, okay? It's kind of a cornerstone of our legal system in this country, you know, for government officials, the people who are prosecuting him, to not declare him to be guilty, okay? Now, the judge ordered federal prosecutors to advise Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche that the department could face some financial penalties or even contempt of court findings if they continued to violate court rules. Now, where did this come from? Well, Mangione's attorneys had flagged a pair of posts to Garnett in a motion filed earlier this month. These posts were made by Chad Gilmartin, Deputy Director of the DOJ's Office of Public Affairs, as well as Brian Neves, Blanche's Chief of Staff. Gilmartin shared a post by the White House's Rapid Response 47 account on the social media platform X, which included a snippet of an interview that Trump had given on Fox News. In that interview, Trump said, quote, Mangione shot him right in the middle of the back, instantly dead. Gilmartin took that quote, posted it, writing that Trump was absolutely right. Neves then retweeted the post, which Gilmartin has since deleted because, oops, you basically just said that the man who has not been to trial yet was guilty of it. Not good. Now, Garnett issued a warning back in April, and at the time stated that the rule would apply to all levels of the Department of Justice, including Attorney General Pam Bondi. So this goes all the way to the top, okay? All the way to the top of the chain. Those two, by the way, weren't the only instances. Mangione's legal team also pointed to remarks made by others within the Trump administration as tainting his right to a fair trial. What do I mean? Well, one example was Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, who said that Mangione had partook in, quote, radical left terrorism. Radical left terrorism. While White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt had referred to Mangione as a, quote, left-wing assassin. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty clear that they are absolutely tainting this case. Here's the thing, though, right? The situation isn't left or right here. Healthcare affects everyone on the political spectrum, okay? Both people on the left and right denounced the murder of Brian Thompson, but also talked about how the greed of the industry, and I remember doing videos talking about comments here. Ben Shapiro, right, had a revolt from his own audience about this very issue, right? Because he was defending Thompson as well as United Healthcare's practices, business practices that were championed by Thompson. Okay, and I'll get into the details on that. But a lot of people were like, "Hey, wait a minute. It's the greed of the industry is killing us. It is killing us. All right, all of us." And so that was the conversation where, again, you had people from across the aisle both saying what United Healthcare, what United Healthcare is doing is immoral, and it is leading to the deaths of people. Okay. In fact, look, United Healthcare had the highest amount of claim denials in the entire industry. Roughly a third of all claims were automatically denied by this company. And that number goes even higher when you talked about patients on Medicare Advantage plans, which are private plans. Okay. About 90% of the claims made by those patients, who are overwhelmingly elderly, many of them are in nursing homes or have, again, a lot of them are sick and or might not be able to otherwise fight against those claim denials. 90% of them were denied automatically. And this was thanks to an algorithm instituted by Brian Thompson, who had bragged to shareholders about, yeah, look how much I increased profits. Look at how much I increased profit. Well, every time you deny a claim, that's money in your pocket. So that's how that worked out. So trying to characterize this as left-wing violence, it's a distraction. It's a complete politicization of violence. This was not someone who was on the left or someone who was on the right. Simply someone who wanted to send a message about greed in the healthcare industry, which affects all of us. Okay. Now that said, this case didn't even fit the definition of terrorism. That's why the judge in this case threw out 2 terrorism charges earlier this month. So take your radical left terrorism charge, Stephen Miller, and shove it right back up your ass. Okay? But anyway, Luigi Mangioni's lawyers wrote, the government has indelibly prejudiced Mr. Mangione by baselessly linking him to unrelated violent events and left-wing extremist groups, despite there being no connection or affiliation. A recent tragic high-profile murder, they're talking about Charlie Kirk here, has only increased this prejudicial rhetoric. The attempts to connect Mr. Mangione with these incidents and paint him as a left-wing violent extremist are false, prejudicial, and part of a greater political narrative that has no place in a criminal case, especially one where the death penalty is at stake. Absolutely. Now, look, the Trump Department of Justice, or I should say Department of Injustice at this point, it is filled with dumb people, okay? These idiots could end up getting the case against Mangione thrown out in a mistrial, okay? Because they, tainted the jury. Or, and there's, of course, the other possibility that jury nullification, because they wouldn't be able to prove their case. This guy could end up walking because our government has been filled with unqualified partisan political hacks, okay, who have been taking every single opportunity. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what case. They're using it as an opportunity to try to blame their political enemies, to blame the left for everything. This right here is kind of a defense lawyer's dream. I mean, just pointing to all these different examples of them trying to prejudice or poison a jury, right? Or poison a case like this is just, again, a great example of what not to do in a criminal trial. This guy may end up walking, okay? And so, good job, government. Good job, Trump appointees, the DOJ. You really effed up on this one, or at least we'll see if that happens. Okay. The man heading the Department of Justice Weaponization Task Force has failed to weaponize a case against a now retired FBI agent who had sued Alex Jones over his lies about the Sandy Hook mass shooting. So now the DOJ had sent a letter a couple of days after Jones posted pictures of himself and prosecutor Ed Martin. This led Martin to have to be forced to walk back a recent threat to investigate that retired FBI agent named William Aldenberg. So Aldenberg had sued Alex Jones in 2022 for defamation and won. Okay. Now, he won alongside the families of 8 of the Sandy Hook victims. Okay. A Connecticut jury found Jones guilty and ordered him to pay over $1 billion in damages. In fact, currently, Alex Jones' show, his empire, is being broken apart and sold off, okay, in order to pay it. So now Aldenberg why was he involved in this case? Well, it turns out he was one of the first law enforcement officials to respond to that devastating mass shooting. He joined that lawsuit because Jones repeatedly claimed that the shooting was a false flag staged by the government, okay, and he was a government worker at the time, that this was staged so that the government can come in and take your guns. He called the victims fake. He called them crisis actors. None of that was true. Children were murdered in cold blood. And yet Jones made money off that, by the way, off of his conspiracy theories. And repeatedly calling them, these kids, they're not dead. They're crisis actors. That's it. That's the ticket. And now, please, buy my supplements. Buy my Penis Force Plus. Trust me, it'll be great. In the bedroom, you'll be the alpha male, true alpha male with Penis Force Plus. By the way, let's get back to the dead kids. I mean, that aren't actually dead. I mean, it's a sick individual, really sick individual. Now, Aldenberg, he was again the first witness to testify in the trial, the defamation suit, and he had gave emotional testimony about the victims that Jones claimed in his show weren't real. He then detailed how he and other law enforcement officers were harassed and threatened with violence from Jones's unhinged audience. In a recent letter, though, to Chris Mattei, Aldenberg's attorney, Ed Martin, questioned whether the agent had joined this lawsuit for his own personal benefit and suggested that if that is the case, well, then we're going to criminally prosecute you. Oh. As you know, he wrote, there are criminal laws protecting the citizens from actions by government employees who may be acting for personal benefit. I encourage you to review those and respond by September 29th. Oh, by the way, you might want to keep this correspondence confidential. I don't want to litigate this on social media. Well, you know who posted it? It wasn't Mattei. No, it was actually Alex Jones. In fact, he posted this with the caption, the DOJ's task force on government weaponization against the American people has launched an investigation into the Democrat Party, FBI directing illegal lawfare against Alex Jones and InfoWars. So, now after Jones posted that letter, Martin sent a follow-up letter to Mattei saying this, at this time I write to inform you that there is no investigation of you or your client. Because of this, I hereby withdraw my request for information from you or your former client. You know what I say to that?
Whoopsie.
Way to go, dummy. These people, they're clowns. They're beyond stupid. Why would you do that? The level of incompetence here cannot be overstated. These are the dumbest people alive in government. Okay? So stupid. Stupid. So stupid. I mean, you can't get dumber than that.
You idiot.
I mean, they were not only trying to do their own political weaponization, but then Jones publicly advertises it as political weaponization, of course. And so that led Martin to have to get ordered by the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, to rescind his letter. Like, idiot, you don't do that. You don't advertise that. What is Alex Jones doing? In a post on social media, Mattai said Martin's letter was Jones's latest attempt to try to harass Aldenberg and the families of the Sandy Hook victims, who, may I remind you, they lost their children and then were harassed for years by these unhinged conspiracy theorists led by Alex Jones, who was just simply profiting off this entire thing personally. Absolutely ridiculous. But no, he said Jones and Martin corruptly used the DOJ to harass Sandy Hook families and the heroic FBI agent who ran to the school to save any children he could. I called him out, and now the so-called inquiry has been withdrawn. This is a moment to stand up to bullying and lawless misconduct. So, look, Ed Martin, I don't think he gets called out enough for what he's doing, but he is actually one of the most nakedly political appointees that Donald Trump has put into any positions of power. I mean, it's just so clear what his role is to be. Okay, he's an attack dog. And by the way, there's a lot of people to choose from. Okay, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all these people, right? But no, it's Ed Martin, okay, who was probably one of the worst. All right, he was put there for these, singular reason to weaponize the Justice Department against Donald Trump's opponents. That's it. That's why he's in this position. Okay. In addition to heading the weaponization task force, right? I know they claim that, oh no, we're investigating weaponization, right? No, you're doing the weaponization. Investigate yourselves. Not only that, though, is he leading that. He's also the U.S. pardon attorney. Oh, we're going to look into the Biden pardons, right? For, the January 6th committee and Hunter Biden. As if anybody gives a damn about Hunter Biden these days. Okay? No, nobody does. Nobody, except for the right wing. All right? But anyway, he's also been tapped by Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate the very thin mortgage fraud allegations against people like Letitia James, another Trump enemy. Okay? Another of his political opponents. And not only that, but Donald Trump's actually trying to put him in other positions, too. Earlier this year, Trump nominated him for U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. He didn't win that fight, though. He was forced to rescind that nomination after Republicans, multiple Republican senators, were like, okay, no, we're not going to confirm this guy. Why? Because he defended the January 6th rioters, as well as his, actions as acting attorney. Turns out they're not exactly huge fans of the job that he's been doing. All that political weaponization that I talked about. Like I said, it's a total clown show. But what do you expect when you elect a circus? All right. Last story for y'all today. Ryan Walters. Oh boy. Alex Jones has a gay frog in his throat. I love it.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. I want to go to space. I will eat your ass.
Really? Some people might take that as an invitation. Just saying. Okay. I know. Oklahoma can say goodbye to bad rubbish. Although in this case, the trash is literally taking itself out. What do I mean? Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters made an announcement to Fox News. Here it is.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to announce I'll be stepping down as Oklahoma State Superintendent and taking on the role as the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance. We're going to destroy the teachers' unions.
Well, wow, okay. So not only is he stepping down from his position as superintendent, but also, I'm going to join this new group and we're going to destroy the teachers' unions. Good luck on that one. Okay. Look, Walters, of course, I've talked about him a lot on the show. He's been pushing Trump policies into the classroom, including buying literal Trump Bibles to give to the children. How does that further anyone's education? Well, it doesn't. In fact, all it did was further Donald Trump's money. Okay, that's really it. These were $60 Bibles, remember, that the state of Oklahoma spent a bunch of money on. Bibles, which don't belong in school, by the way, they usually only cost about $2 to $3, right? Well, not the Trump Bible. That's $60. And, by the way, it was made incredibly cheaply. All right? So much so that these Bibles, or Trump Bibles, like, falling apart. This was nothing more than a pathetic cash grab. And yet Ryan Walters was like, oh, yeah, I got to get in on that one. Let's spend taxpayer money on these piece of crap Bibles. So that's what he did, okay? And so not only that, but he did a lot of other things. His entire tenure there has just been marred by scandal, okay? And so here's the thing, though. He's got a year left in his term. Why leave in October? Why is he out? Wouldn't it make more sense for him to serve out his term and then go and join this anti-teachers union group? Well, might have something to do with him being investigated for playing pornography during a meeting. I don't know, but might have something to do with it. Look, again, I don't know, but he did try to blame other people for it. Maybe it was the teachers unions that maybe it's their fault. He said that any suggestion that a device of mine was used to stream inappropriate content on the television set that was behind him is categorically false. I have no knowledge of what was on the TV screen during the alleged incident, and there is absolutely no truth to any implication of wrongdoing. These falsehoods are the desperate tactics of a broken establishment afraid of real change. They aren't just attacking me. They're attacking the values of the Oklahomans who elected me to challenge the status quo. Right. Sure, and a dog ate my homework. Look, my guess is he knows that Oklahomans are getting real tired of his antics. It's not exactly popular in the state. In fact, there was a poll in March of 2024 from Change Research, which found that 55% of likely Oklahoma voters actually disapprove of Walters. That includes 42% who strongly disapprove. But that's in 2024. A polling that was done just a year later in August of 2025 by Sooner Survey revealed that Walters' unfavorable rating actually has increased to 44% among likely Republican primary voters. That's right. 31%. Only 31% hold a favorable opinion of Ryan Walters. Yikes! That is a disaster. And then, of course, in a January 2025 online poll by the Oklahoman, readers were asked to grade Walters on his 2024 performance. And out of 4,000 respondents, 95% of them gave Walters an F. Ouch. Look, these numbers, by the way, are a result of a myriad of different problems under his tenure, including the fact that the state is now 50th in education. They are the bottom of the barrel, worst of the worst for education in this country. And yet, he didn't focus at all on making education better in the state. No. His focus, Ryan Walters was uniquely focused, like a laser, on doing culture war bullshit and to elevate his own political profile. And this is while his department was allegedly mismanaging funds. That's right. His tenure was a complete and utter disaster. He has failed the children of Oklahoma and is now going to take a new job to try to crush teachers. That's right. Crush teachers who already, according to most people that are polled, say do not get paid enough for what they do. In fact, research from October of 2024 indicated that a local teachers union endorsement gives candidates an 8 percentage point boost in an election, just to show you how much the people actually like the teachers unions. Yeah. And a separate NPR Ipsos poll found that only 22% of the general public believes that teachers are paid fairly. 75% say that they are asked to do too much work for the pay that they receive. Now, this is actually why teachers unions need to be stronger, okay? And are really actually more important, okay? But this guy is like, no, the teachers unions need to be crushed so that we can pay teachers less, even less than they do now, okay? While giving them even more work to do. That's the plan. I mean, the plan here among these right-wing people like Ryan Walters is to get rid of the teachers unions and then force these teachers to work for less pay with more responsibility, including, like, in some cases, arming them so that they're the first line of defense against school shooters. I mean, that's complete and utter insanity. And then, of course, trying to get them to have to post the 10 Commandments in the classrooms and do religious indoctrination instead of actual education. Okay, and that is the plan that they have for our education system. And it's an absolute disaster. Okay. Now, the unions, of course, have already condemned the Freedom Foundation as a, quote, extremist political project of a group of right-wing billionaires who view unions as a threat to their profits. And there you go. Here's the thing. Good luck, Ryan Walters, with that whole Teacher Freedom Alliance thing. I'm going to get teachers to get together and unionize against the teachers' unions. That's kind of effectively what they're trying to do. Okay. Here's the thing. I bet that Ryan Walters is only there to try to siphon as much money he can from this relatively new group. And that's what it is. It's a group that was just created not too long ago. All right. And this group, backed by billionaires, and so he's going to try to get as much money as he can before that group goes under. That said, all right, good luck with that. Grab that bag, Ryan. Grab that bag. Because this is basically the only thing that you're going to be able to do from now on. So, bye-bye. And don't let the door hit you, where the good Lord split you. That's all I have to say on that one. Okay. Well, that's all I've got for y'all today. Thank you for watching the show. Please like and share if you haven't already. Check out the videos if you missed any part of the show. I will not be here tomorrow. I'm taking the time off for my birthday. I'll be 42 on Saturday. So yikes. Where has the time gone? Oh right. Falling into a fascist dictatorship. Yeah, that was one of those things that kind of ages you a little bit. Trying to warn people against the fascism that was coming and is now here. So seems like kind of a waste of time when you think about it. I know. But anyway, that's yep, birthday on Saturday. Yikes. And then of course, my dad's birthday today. So like I said, kind of a rough day here. And so, since my dad died in April, but I will try to take some time off to, come back strong on Monday and continue to crush the haters. So, all right. So anyway, 42. I'm 42, or will be 42. Hey, that's how many likes I have right now. Oh, awesome. Fun times. Thank you. Appreciate that for the preemptive birthday wishes. I do appreciate that. Will I have the answers to all the questions tomorrow? Well, the answer, of course, is 42. I mean, that's just, that's the answer. The meaning of life, exactly. No, I don't believe anyone will gift me a new camera, unfortunately. But anyway, thank you all. Like and share if you haven't already. Like I said, check out the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf. And support independent progressive media. It's very important that you do so. We need your help more than anyone. And I'm saying that, not only for me, but saying that for a lot of the other independent creators as well, that are just getting absolutely crushed by the algorithms, by social media, by AI, all that stuff. So, again, support your favorite creators. And if it happens to be me, that's great. But if not, well, that's all right too. Support them. Make sure that they can also stay around and continue to give you the news and the content and the discussions that you care about. All right. With that said, thank you all. Have a great day, a great weekend. And I'm going to try to eat some cheap cake because I can't afford anything else. So, alrighty. See you on Monday. I love you all. And remember, change begins with you.